United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning.
Morning.
Desk is already a mess. All right. Has everybody had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Are there any conflicts of interest or objections to the agenda? If not, it'll stand as written. Hearing none, Mr. Mulbauer is on Zoom. Get that down, ma'am?
Not yet, haven't had time.
Okay. Kind of dragging my feet just.
I will, go ahead.
All
Get
right.
it.
Would you give us the reading of the minutes?
You bet. December 19, 2023, the Board of Supervisors met at 9 AM with Ty Rosberg, Chairman, presiding members present were Schultz, Dozark, Rosberg, Mulbauer, and Hayden. Minutes of the previous meeting were read and approved. Motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Mulbauer to approve the following resolution, 2023-36. Crawford County semi-annually completes inspection of all bridges in Crawford County. So this is that inspection.
Wait, limit.
Is that what it is?
Posting.
I don't know, it doesn't say that.
That's what it is.
Significant deterioration of structural components. Yep, erect and or maintain weight limit signs in advance of the following bridges located on federal aid, farm to market, and local secondary road systems as follows. I'm not reading all that. Voting aye, Schultz, Dozark, Rosberg, Mulbauer, and Hayden. Motion passed unanimously. The motion was made by Dozark, seconded by Hayden to approve water needs study that was presented by Logan Schmidt of DGR Engineering. The water needs study consists of research of communities, agriculture, businesses, water needs in the county, combat drought cycles. Motion passed unanimously. Kaylin Bishop, Service Director of Rolling Hills Region Mental Health and Disability Services, met with the board to give an update of services she provides to the residents in the county. The discussion was made by the board about the county farm. Colin Johnson, county attorney, working on drawing up contract to include CRP. No action was taken at this time. A motion was made by Dozark, seconded by Hayden to approve transfer of Charter Oak Cemetery to the Charter Oak Township. Motion passed unanimously. A motion was made by Schultz, seconded by Dozark to approve the Children's Imagination Station 2080 Agreement Amendment. Motion passed unanimously. Ted Bleesman, Chair of the Compensation Board, presented the board with their recommendations for the elected officials fiscal year 24-25. No action was taken at this time. On motion, duly seconded, the board adjourned 11:46 AM. Agendas for the next meeting are posted available at the courthouse on Friday, 4:30 PM, preceding the next meeting.
Are there any additions and corrections or objections to the minutes?
Well, they're gonna be really well.
They'll stand in the breath. Not in order.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Next is our supervisor's report.
It's not mine.
Jean, are you prepared?
Yes, I am.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and lead us off?
All right, so, as you know, the wellness, committee is, still, working on raising their funds, and there's a match that they need to have in order to qualify for this CAT grant, which is worth $1 million, and we're very, very close to getting it. So there was a special meeting,
To getting the grant or getting the application?
I think it's the grant, I think the application is in.
Okay.
And we had, had until they reward it, which is gonna be January 4th, to meet this, I don't even have my percentages, that's gonna be one thing, I'll get that. So we're within, I believe it's $250,000 of having the required funds pledged and donated and ready to go. I think those are the numbers. So the meeting that they had, so it was moved by Damon and seconded by Eller to approve an additional pledge to transfer surplus funds in the amount of $250,000 to be paid annually in 4 equal installments over 4 consecutive years, to be paid at the beginning of the fiscal year immediately following final payment of the initial pledge, additional 1/3 of 250,000, 83,333 contingent upon Crawford County and the city of Denison also contributing the remaining 2/3 of $25,000. Express intent of the Denison Municipal Utility Board of Trustees as a wellness facility is to be constructed with the most practical, energy efficient options available. So that passed, and so what I'm here today is to bring forward,
That passed in DMU.
at the
DMU?
DMU board, that they will
Alright.
pledge the additional 250,000.
Only if we and the
Only if
city.
we, so I'll kind of explain it a little bit more. I wanted to, it was a special held meeting. So they're asking, us to match 83,333 in a pledge from 26 to 28 by both the city and the county. In addition to the 250,000 that we pledged over the same time period. They talked about the fact that we had the ARPA funds and they did not have any ARPA funds, that were unavailable to them. I think the thing that we need to kind of look at here is that additional 83,333 pledged by the county over the time period, 27,778 per year. And I get that will triple in value to help us get us to where we need to go with the CAT grant board and the $1 million grant opportunity. So that's kind of putting it into a little nutshell for us. So that's the request, for them to have that pledge out there, which is going to get us to that $1 million grant opportunity. So
I'm not sure I got all that.
So,
Did you?
no, I didn't.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it again, or do you want to look at
No.
it?
Sure, read it again.
Okay. The DMU board, wants us to match $83,333 in a pledge from 26 to 28 by both the city and the county. So each one of them would put in.
So those are fiscal years you're talking
Right.
about, fiscal year 20.
That's 27, 28.
Yep, by both the city and the county. All right, we'll skip through that. They talked about ARPA funds. The thing to focus on is going to be, in years 26 through 28, it would be an additional 27,778. That 83,000 is over the 3 years, so it'd be 27,778 per year.
So the county share is 83,000.
$133.
So what's the additional 27?
That's how it would break out each year for those 3 years.
So it's 83,000 total,
For 3 years
over a 3-year time period
Right.
at 27,000 per year
per year.
to get to the 83,000.
Going towards the wellness
Correct.
center.
Correct.
So we're in.
They're asking us to give another $83,000.
Oh,
Right,
Total.
yeah, yeah.
27.
okay, all right.
So-
It's
On
just,
top of the
it's frustrating, I guess.
750 we
Over the
originally
million.
said.
Another
Correct.
board,
Correct.
Over the
Correct.
million.
Correct.
I
And
mean,
so-
that another board would hold that over our head.
Well, we did that a little
So
bit
we
with
weren't
the
giving
city,
any more.
you know,
So,
the county
yeah.
said we would pledge if the county, if the city would match
more.
in the very beginning, 750,000.
having to dig
We agree
The
with.
DMU pledged to
No,
750,000?
they pledged to help with the utilities of the building.
What did they estimate that to be?
I don't have that number,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right.
Probably
Probably
they have people that, like my kids leave the lights on. when
kind of
it's
like
on.
that. You have no control over, you know, and part of that,
guilty of that
if you-
myself.
they want the most practical,
My wife
efficient
reminds
options
me of
available for the HVAC and water heating of the facility. So they're calling for that to be part of this motion that they made, back on December 21st. So they're gonna pledge the 250,000 contingent upon Crawford County and the city also contributing the remaining 2/3 of the 250,000.
So they're pledging a total of 250,000.
But part of that's our money,
They're only
Oh, part
pledging
of it's the 83,000.
right,
Yeah, they wanna split it 3 ways.
right,
Okay,
right,
all right,
right.
it's coming around.
That's why
It's getting through my head.
That's why
Let me
I
share.
read it right off of the sheet, so that,
No, I know.
because it was confusing, and it was, you know, lots of moving parts.
So why do we contribute towards a grant? I guess the grant
The grant
comes
is,
from the state of Iowa.
right, and
That's
it's,
$1 million.
right, and it's requiring that we have raised.
We have to raise an additional
We
250,000
have
to
to have-
qualify for that million.
Correct, we have,
Okay.
that's, that,
And this is that 250,000.
Right.
They're saying, hey, we'll pledge it, we'll put down and say DMU is responsible for it, but we want a third from the county and a third from the city.
You got it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that way, when we go, cause I think the number was 75% had to be raised. I think that's the number. I wish I would have.
And we were 250 short of what the CAT grant
And they
required.
really hit fundraising hard, you know, to get to that, you know, or that close. To be able to have our application being considered, you know, that we met which when they put the application in, we were highly confident that they could do it. Because we have a fabulous group of fundraisers out there, really not.
Okay, the county's already put $1 million towards it, the city's already put $1 million towards it.
You are correct. So that is what I have to report today. So it's not
How
a
I feel
discussion,
about that.
it's not a discussion, take
Yeah.
action item or anything
Right,
like
right,
that.
I appreciate it.
It's my report on,
Dave's talking.
Dave,
So what's the next step, I guess? DMU made that motion,
Dave has a question.
it passed,
He took his mic off, or he's.
it
what-
passed
Mike.
with the, so did they take that motion and passing
go
and
ahead and read it.
use that in the CAT grant? That say, hey, we have,
Right,
this is that 250,000, even though we have not approved it and the city has not.
right, it's contingent. The word in there is contingent.
You should be.
It's apologizing for confusing you.
I just,
Okay,
that's why I made sure that was readily available so I could pull it up, read it, because I had to read it.
so
Yeah, I
when
get
they
that.
say, here, it was moved by Damon, seconded by Eller to approve an additional pledge to transfer surplus funds.
Right,
What are surplus funds? What if they don't have surplus funds?
The DMU?
Yeah,
they
do they
have,
always have surplus funds?
they do.
Maybe we wanna share their surplus funds.
Well, that's a thing the city of Denison has spoken of for 20 years also, because it's a municipality that's not owned by the city.
Right.
That's a whole nother subject. We don't want to go into all that.
I'm just, I
I don't want the city to own it.
facetiously said that, I didn't mean anything.
I don't think so either.
Uh,
It wouldn't have
I
surplus
did,
funds
I did
anymore.
ask what the actual reserves are.
Rates real fast.
And if you read on down that, feel free to read the whole chain. The reserves
Well,
is
we
not
should
an
next week.
actual dollar amount, it's a formula kind of a deal. Damon had responded to that. So, cause I knew you guys would probably wanna know that, but I didn't get the dollar amount. And then that would be open, I mean, we can find that out, it's not a secret, it's just that nobody had that exact number. Cause it's a moving target a little bit too, but they, just like we, have to keep money available for things that might break down and problems that.
Yeah, I mean, they gotta be
Yeah, yeah.
slush enough to have a major ice storm. Have to
Correct.
Go buy 8 semi-loads of new poles, I mean. they
You are
gotta
correct.
do it.
Yes. Yes, you can't, that's good financial planning to not be down to zero.
I'm working on things like gaining access to more water.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff to be worked on in the future.
Yeah, so that, I just think it's easier sometimes if you read it rather than me read it. That's why I brought it along in my new iPad folder that looks
Very
like
nice.
hers.
Very fancy.
I know it, I love Christmas.
Did you buy it for yourself or did you give
We
it to
ordered it, yeah.
That's how you get what you want.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
have to go buy the pants and socks and things that I want, and then she wraps them and
Yeah,
but it works, at least everything I got fits.
it's,
I know what I've got, I don't have to shake presents anymore.
so that's my,
Okay.
that's my update. Other than that, there, you know, that last week, was just a kind of a slow week because everybody's either on vacation, you know, trying to get quorums and things. So we start back, January 2nd, I think is my first meeting again. So I'm kind of slow. That was my update and something that we need to consider and get actually on the agenda to discuss, I believe, and, give you a little forethought. So do you want to put that on the agenda for next week and we'll see, we'll have it. I think that's too soon.
Well, next week is, well, I guess it doesn't matter.
Right.
What do you want
It's
it
gonna
to
be a
say?
busy week.
Discuss.
DMU proposal?
We've got busy
Yep, I
weeks
think that we
coming.
should have that on. So that is, what I had to report this. Did Dave get to talk?
There's Dave.
There he is.
Dave, you wanna add anything to that?
Yeah, I got some questions about that, Gene. What what's the time frame that they need to know by? And I guess it doesn't sit very easy with me with initially hearing that. We already went above and beyond and giving to them, and I want to see it go, but we're already looking at a restriction in budgets revenue. Or I guess is the school being asked to participate when I could see a lot of the school kids directly being involved in using the facility, especially if it's right in their back door? There's a few questions I got about it, and I'd like to think on it a lot more.
That's why I brought it up before having it be, an action take item. The school, is donating that property where it's going to be built with their, donation to it. I don't know if they've been asked for any more. I do not have an update, but I can have that for us next
I'm
week.
sure they can.
I can actually send emails out once I find that out, so you have time to think about the total contribution that they'll
I
have.
mean, I was
But
on
the land's the big one for
school
them,
board when we annexed that.
so,
Annex,
I can,
yeah.
forward this to you, Dave, so you can also read it,
Yeah.
so you can kind of digest it a little bit better. Will that be okay?
That'd be great.
I'll forward it to you. I think it's easier if you have it in writing rather than have to listen to how I read it.
I'm
Okay,
tracking you.
I'll forward it to you.
Interesting.
Any other questions, Dave?
I touched on earlier, okay, so this project, we pledged 750,000 right off the get-go.
We
To
did.
be spent once the project ground was broke, but I think since then, we've already paid some bills.
Oh, yeah, got
There's
one
a
in there.
pile, there's a thing in
So-
there
There's one in this
for the
envelope.
city.
Yeah, so I'm just kinda confused. I'm probably part of the blame for it, cause I think I said, yeah, go ahead and start paying some of them,
We did.
which, then I thought back, I'm like, well, shit, we weren't even gonna start paying until,
Until we knew that it was a go.
and it don't sound like it's a go yet. So what if this all falls apart?
We're not even gonna get our our million, all of our million back.
Will we get any of it back? I mean,
Yeah, you will.
You better.
Yes. We could tally up what we contributed.
who we getting it from? Cause a lot of that's going to pay architects and all
Yes, it
that, but they're
is.
gonna be,
Yes, it is.
they're not gonna give the money back if the project goes
No,
wrong.
already-
No, they're not.
Perform
What's
services.
paid is gone.
Yeah, that's why, and then the city's not gonna pay us back, cause they don't have the money for
These are all good.
Ringing the bell.
it. Yeah, I just,
Ding, ding.
and I'm not saying the DMU's wrong by doing that, but like, when's this gonna quit? When's the next, cause how many million they short you? Cause then there's another
Well,
$1 million
to
grant
finish the
available,
project.
well, we gotta come up with 250,000.
They're
Yeah.
short 2.5 million?
We're still short 2.5 million. After this
You
million.
guys
I'm just.
lay out the
questions.
questions,
Yep.
and because I don't want to sit here and tell you
Right.
the way I remember, because I don't have any of it written down. The numbers switch and fluctuate every meeting that we have because there are donations still coming in.
Yep.
And a lot of pledges, so I don't want to answer that, but how much are we short? The percentage that was needed.
Right, and I don't know, I mean, there's the Friends of, I contributed to the Friends of the Wellness Center, I believe it is, cause they're a 501c3
Yep.
organization, so it's a tax deduction,
Yep,
doing it that way. And I don't know if they just collect their money, then give it in lump sums, or if they give it, as they get it, I don't know. So they could be sitting on some money too that, they haven't contributed yet. Like I said, I don't know how that works.
I'll find out.
Would you get any of that back if it don't go?
Well, that was the next question that I thought of when you said, well, we get the money back, all the people that contributed. I guess, where is that money, that all the
Did you go
individual
through,
contributions
Joey,
still?
is that where, is it through Joey Ferguson?
I just went online.
Okay. I'll find out.
The Friends of the Wellness have a GoFundMe page.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tim Stewart was at my
Oh, yeah,
house
Tim.
soliciting donations, which is fine.
There,
But that's a good point too. Where's that money?
Right, where does it sit?
do you guys think of any more questions, just
Okay.
email them to me, then I will get the
My
answers.
biggest concern is what the taxpayers are gonna
Right,
get us 5 upon if we keep,
Just keep shelling out.
yeah. I don't know.
Cause now we're no longer digging into ARPA funds, you realize
I
that?
do realize that.
Right,
So for them to say, well, we had ARPA money, yeah, and we've already gave $1 million of that.
we've spent it.
We've spent it.
Yeah,
And
so I mean, that's.
Yep.
I mean, I actually had other things than a potential wellness center to spend that ARPA on.
Is that a deal breaker, $27,788 a year? I hate for it to be a deal breaker.
Yeah, well, I don't,
But I mean,
it's the,
we'll piss and moan over the smallest, dumbest things that are on this table.
oh yeah, you're right.
Terry, I
And then we
don't
just,
agree with that.
well, look, you know, this is the time of year we see it the most. We'll sit there and squabble over a $500 and then next person walks in, I need a $1 million. Oh, yeah, $1 million. You bet. That's
Mhm.
that's one of my frustrations about this.
Ding ding,
So
cracking you.
research them.
I will.
Please,
That's
Jean.
why I brought that forward before we put it on the agenda so that we could get all these questions in.
So do you wanna just research, report back and then
I
put
will.
on the agenda the week after or something, or?
Let me find out what the time frame is because I can get these answers and email them
Because you said
also.
they have to have
We
something.
could have
Right,
it on there as a discuss item
Yeah.
and she could
She could
present.
present it then and.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense, I like that.
That way it's on the agenda.
Right.
People know you're gonna talk about it and,
Yep.
We
Yeah.
don't always have to,
Right.
No action is required on an action item.
well, it's just
Exactly.
gonna, it can just be a
Exactly.
discussion
Just
item
off.
too
But if we
initially.
do have what we want to do, we could make that,
I guess Jane will be the chairperson.
you can do it, do whatever you want.
You roll.
You have the department, do whatever you want.
that's okay then too. So that is what I had to get the conversation started. today.
Okay.
So, all right, thank you for your considerations. All right,
Any other business to be brought before the board?
no. Took up-
Mr. Dozark, how about you?
The
Final papers are.
I actually had 2 meetings.
Look at you go.
And the early childhood meeting, you could see that, they had signed the 2080 also, so all that's moving forward, the new 2080 that we approved last week. I think it's in the book for your signature, I believe, or you already have your signature on it. Maybe it just shows up my,
There's some part
Down
down
there.
there we got, and I just always wait to see if she's got a stamp stuff.
but that was all that went on there. And then we had an IT meeting, and I'm glad Terry's here so she can
Oh, God.
help me if I
I can
forgot
bring my
something.
notes.
Okay, we got a final, cost, I guess, of the new phone system. And I mean, when I say it's roughly going to be the same as what we've been paying, that is accurate. It might be, $50 to $100 a month more. But it's certainly going to be a far better phone system, and we won't be dealing with the problems we had with Frontier when our phones were shut down. That's not gonna be an issue moving forward. And I think anytime you serve the public, you wanna make sure that you're accessible to the public. And so that's extremely important. The other thing is, Jake presented the tentative budget that, he's gonna present to us when that time is right to do so. And it's gonna be a budget of roughly $90,000. I mean, one of the things that he's looking at is replacing a node. And those are something that, he wants to replace them every 5 years. I think that's something that technology, as we get into this technology age, is unfortunately, that's
Gotta keep
the
up.
bad aspect of it is that you have to keep up because things are changing so rapidly. And if you don't keep up, like I think we have, is it 5 nodes? Terry, you remember? Oh, yeah.
Is it 5 or
Replace
3?
3. Replace one of 3 nodes currently. He wants to replace one every 5 years. And so that's the cycle that he wants to get on. We have 3 and he wants to replace one every 5 years. And the cost of doing that is $50,000.
What's a node do?
That's part of the server. I think we have 3
Uh-huh.
servers.
I
Yes.
was gonna say, they must be.
And so
Does it get full or just wore out?
that's a great question.
I don't know.
I don't
know. I think
You had
that.
stuck me on that damn IT committee. Because nobody else wanted it, and I don't know a darn thing about IT.
I think the technology of it
That's
improves and, yeah, I don't know.
I do, but I also know you're curious, so I figured.
I am.
you'd ask that question.
We'll be having budget
Great
meetings very
fit for it.
soon,
Yeah,
so
we
you
can-
Fabulous.
That's
can,
fine, don't be,
Okay.
don't be worried.
And then we've got some licenses that we need to re-up. That's part of his cost. And,
Yep.
the other one is Synology, and that's something that's 10 years old. And for migration of data, that's a long time. And so that needs to be updated, and that's 15,000, so that's a majority, yes.
Are some of the licenses for the cameras and things that were purchased to put up at the city center, that we've been paying those licenses? We were actually warned against doing that because we would have the licenses out there for a year and we don't have the equipment up yet. Are some of those because that,
I don't think any of these
Those are
licenses
what,
are for those cameras.
You don't think
Corey
so?
Gaskell, I think that, whatever you're talking about, yeah.
yeah, because we were warned about it, you know, they recommended not getting that all. But,
A node.
Okay.
oh, here we go.
Is a connection point among network devices such as routers, printers, or switches that can receive and send data from one endpoint to another. So it's like a switchboard operator, basically.
Okay.
This is the way I understand it.
Like the old switchboard. The
Well,
lady that
that's
answered the
that's
phone,
what I'm
pull out one,
envisioning, but-
Stick it in there,
That's, that's how I'm envisioning it, but
right?
it's all
Automatic.
Automatic.
automatic, so.
And the other thing that, we talked a little bit about is currently our, copier contract is with Visual Edge, is who we pay, and we're looking at changing that to Access.
Right.
And, our contract with Visual Edge ends February 10th of 2024. We need to give a 30-day notice to end that contract. And otherwise it automatically renews. And Access, has better, IT training with it. And, so we just told the consensus of the IT board was that this is Jake's area of expertise. And so if he feels that Access would be better at no more cost than what Visual Edge would be, that he needs to move forward with the process as far as notifying Visual Edge to end the contract, setting up a new contract with Access, bringing that contract to the Board of Supervisors for that he wanted to come to us to talk about it. And we're like, no, that's your call. You're the IT guy. So you should be making recommendations to us, not having us try to understand it.
There you go.
Because we're not IT people, you are. So
Like that?
in the future, I think he'll be bringing that to us. Anything I missed, Terry, or,
I don't think so.
okay,
Talked a little bit about, where he lives in the county, not lives personally, but his office and where he lives and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah, we just talked about that a little bit.
You're learning.
Was it a good talk?
I guess.
yeah.
That's what I said, you're
I mean, there's some options for him. He knows from the meeting prior, Dave was there, so he can attest that we told him at the Board of Supervisors from a consensus here at this table that we wanted him in this courthouse. And if that means that he's where he's at, that's where he's at. If there's opportunities arise with someone moving, then certainly we'll look at having him move to that location.
I am meeting with the full veterans,
But we talked,
today
that
at 1
was
o'clock.
brought up.
Yeah,
That's why Louise needed to send me that early morning text about she won't be able to be there. But, I'll meet with them and kind of show them the space and see what the whole commission thinks. WIC is also very interested in those office spaces for their meetings. I found out from public health, so.
Where is Wick at currently?
They kind of meet different places, you know, they will.
Like the DHS bar room or?
Actually, those rooms could be used together because the groups, nobody's gonna be there every day.
Correct.
You know, WIC meets once a month, I believe, or is it once a week? But they meet at different churches, and so there's just always has to be a
I see.
telling them they're gonna meet at this church, and then, so it'd be nice just to have a place that this is where it is. And I know Luis is very excited about having a veterans,
What kind of budget are we gonna give for that project, that portion of the project?
it shouldn't change a whole lot, I don't know, I've got
Yeah, it does.
I
Have you seen the
do,
drawing?
Yeah, I bet it does.
I do
I
have
bet
the
it does.
flooring bid for what it's gonna cost for the floor down there. I did kind of get some, people there and I know on flooring, what we're all, because things that we didn't think about is tearing up the old linoleum and then getting it ready for a new surface, but that linoleum is in bad shape. The other side's just concrete, so, and there's some talk of, having Jake's area not have a hallway down to it, that he would come to it another way. So, we'll talk about that, once we figure out who's really, and that's why we haven't moved forward on, putting the drywall up. What is it actually gonna be used for, and what's the best way to just reconfigure those offices, in a little bit different fashion to get the most out of the square footage that's down there. That hallway takes up a lot of room. So if you take the offices and have them going the other way, and it's just, for one purpose, that you get a lot more square footage rather than having a hallway down the middle and this side and this side. So a little bit of talk about that. So today at 1:00, I'll meet with the commission and they'll see what they think of the space, and then we have a better idea of how that's gonna work. So that fits into your conversation with a bigger space, because when Caitlin was here too, she's not real happy in that back closet behind Luis's for what and as you know with her report, she's doing a lot here in Crawford County, so that space is.
Doesn't sound like she's here though much, cause it
She's
sounds like
not.
she's more at the hospital or
Well,
the jail or.
what came first, there isn't really a great place to meet, or we have to kind of meet and work around the situation that we're in.
Gotcha.
So what came first? I think it's
Gotcha.
a conversation we could have there too. So,
For 83,000, maybe they're gonna build this little room up at the wellness center.
I guess I just remembered, as far as the Children's Imagination Station, is one of our discussions was about one of the reasons that we're raising the rent is that our cost of upkeep, I mean, it's a weird lease that we got into many years ago, was that we basically just charge them rent and then we're responsible for the cleaning of the whole facility. And usually the renter does that, not the owner. And so we looked at those costs. Scott Larson went back to the cost from 2011 to 2022. And I mean, they've gone up $10,000 a year since that time, with the cost of cleaning and then wages and everything. So, I mean, I mentioned a couple months ago, so why don't we put that out on bid, see if we can get a cleaning person just to come in and bid it. And so they did, and they just got the bid. They emailed the bid out to us over the Christmas holidays. And there was a company that bid, I think it was $22,000 a year to go in and clean every night, Monday through Friday. And
Wonder why they would have did that way.
I don't know.
That's a little perplexing.
I hate
It
to
is.
admit it, but I was on that board back then and I can't remember.
It was $2,199 a month is what the bid was. And so I haven't gone back to look at it. Like I said, I just got this, checked my emails yesterday afternoon. And to compare what that does compared to, we have 2 janitors and then all of our supplies, and go back and compare what those total up to what that number is. And see if it'd be better
Would you
to,
still have a clean service on top of janitors?
no, not on top of, he would replace.
Okay.
So I think what we need to do is go back and see what our 2 janitors cost us per year, what all our cleaning supplies cost us per year, and then divvy out those costs of that bid to our renters, is what we plan on doing with the spike of the rent, is that should be taking care of that. So,
Okay. Makes sense.
more to come.
Times have changed.
Yay, saga continues.
Yes.
Hi,
That's all.
question. As
Yeah.
more for, do we physically own a third of the Imagine Station's building?
We do not. That's owned by the city.
We're just are part of the third of the 28E.
Correct.
Revised.
And
So if the building is sold, the way I understand it, I may, and I'm pretty positive about this, is that if the building was ever sold, the city would get 100% of the cost of the proceeds of that building.
I guess my
School.
thought was if, well, that's the city's case, I guess, but if the building was given to the Imagination Station and we got out of the 28E, could they sustain themselves without all of our?
I doubt it.
I would say no.
I would say.
I would say no. And they
Okay.
just raised the rates to a point where, I know of several people that have been there for years are.
Because we give 13,000,
Are getting
the
out of
city
there.
gives 13,000, the school gives 13,000. So that's $39,000 a year that we go pay towards the upkeep of that building. And they spend all of that 39,000 on the upkeep of that building. There's no way they could do that on their own.
They've had to spend a lot recently because, you know, that's what that fund kind of was for, because the carpet was getting to look really bad, the flooring, you
And
know.
now they're looking at air conditioning, heating units.
New freezer, refrigerator,
It's just-
mini blinds, you know, with kids, the doors, you know, kind of, yeah.
I think of it, they made a movie called.
Yes, they did.
I mean,
Yeah.
we got 20 million in street repairs they need to do.
But they're busy.
Oh, I don't know, kids could grab a towel and some threads and.
Be good training.
We could make it fun.
Well,
We could make it
skills
fun.
fit. Wax on and wax off.
That's all I have time.
Thank you. Mr. Schultz.
You can see my mind's been running wild, so.
Yeah, I know, I was kind of afraid to call on you.
I
That'd have been
haven't,
after it
you
this
know,
morning.
the only thing I've had was, some phone calls in regards to the comp board. That's
Oh,
all I've had,
yeah.
other than that, it's been quiet, you know.
What is the calls?
Oh, about the potential reconvening and the
Oh,
ones were like, we don't wanna reconvene, or
Yep.
what if we do reconvene, what are your thoughts? And I'm like, well, if you reconvene, it's up to you guys, but to me, everything's on the table again. Just don't reconvene for fun,
Right.
everything's on the table.
Everything.
Yeah, just like the last time they reconvened.
I mean,
Yeah.
They made a motion in a second and they approved it, so action has to happen to
Majority
to
rule.
rescind that.
Exactly, so.
The majority ruled.
And you know, and I just say, I think you guys, the ones that called me, I said, I think the due diligence was played and you guys came up with a majority vote. Obviously, the minutes stated that, so I said, I don't know.
I would also like to
I was
include,
impressed with what I thought they did a good job.
didn't you feel like the presentation that Ted gave was the most detailed, the most thought out, the most, you know, really the
Yes.
conversation
That I've
included
ever
the-
heard.
That ever heard, you know,
Yes.
because I can remember
Outstanding.
years where it's like, where did they come up with that number?
Right.
It was
Right.
explained to us exactly where
Right.
they.
no,
came
you
up with
can
that number.
agree or disagree with the number, but you can't argue with how the
Correct.
rationale that they used to come up
Correct,
with the
so,
number that they
so
presented to
to,
us.
to the letter of the law, where it says that the compensation board shall, they've done their, that's what they have to do. And Colin himself, you know, will say, it's, you know, we don't have, it's up to us then to take it,
Right,
but to go
right.
back and redo that, why didn't they finish the conversation and finish, you know, for, people to have known, you know, that they thought they should not have agreed if they didn't agree. And so to go back and get a second chance at rehammering things that you maybe wanted, that's not what this is about. I just feel like it's just,
No.
I don't know. That's all.
But at that point, again, the last one I talked to said, I didn't think they were gonna reconvene.
Yeah,
They didn't have enough,
I haven't heard
they
anything
didn't have
about
enough
that.
people wanting to reconvene. 4 of them, the way it's on me, 4 had said, hell, no, we're not reconvening, so.
I hope we can It's 7 again next year.
They said what they
Yeah.
needed to be said,
Yeah.
and it was voted on, they said there's no sense in reconvening.
Okay.
Okay.
It's gonna be,
And I'm not disagreeing with that, I am concerned with
I disagree.
the screaming and the hollering and the threatening, because it's hard enough to find volunteers to get on these boards to begin with. And then to be threatened to be sued on top of it is like, that's
Little
childish.
letters.
But funny how quickly that spun from that meeting to us five getting bashed on the Facebook by
Oh,
one
yeah.
of our own employees.
Did you see that? Yeah.
I didn't see that.
I'll show you. I got it right here.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
I always,
We've been bashed a little bit lately, and to me, it's been illogical, so I haven't paid a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is, Facebook is what it is.
as you guys know, I would not ever see it unless somebody sends it to me
Iowa.gov.
and says,
Crawfordcounty.iowa.gov.
Yeah.
was just,
So, I mean, it's funny how that took place
Mhm.
with no action from this in there, and it's
that's.
on our,
But we supported the fact that we thought that they did what they thought was right.
yeah.
And I've always been supported unless it looks like it was right.
Oh,
Okay.
But I mean, even,
the guy that probably
Or
lives
attorney.
in
I
Crawford
wanna see
County.
that too, yeah.
Unfortunately, my little thing was
We
on
had a
the,
little coin purse
Oh,
on the back,
that-
very fancy.
I love
these kind of got all kinds of nice toys after.
I
Post
did.
Christmas has been good. Christmas was good to her.
that actually, you can open it up and you can put a
This
credit
is my
card and some
prettiest
money
thing.
in it. It's
Oh.
got a longer
Well, I
handle.
can't remember.
Oh, it's got a
It's all
little,
good.
lot of little
It
handles.
does.
Yeah.
I carry it like a purse and I make fun of
And
me.
the stuff that Craig presented that day too,
I'm not
the
sure.
info
I'm
out
Oh,
of
Yep.
the state patrols,
not sure I understand what all that is.
you know?
That's why
Cause there's
I-
no
I don't
definition
wanna-
to a
Right.
professional
I have
administrator.
no control
Who is that
over all these
exactly?
Conversations.
Well, like I told Ty and I think Craig, I said, the law had been a lot more clear if it stated the fact that
Why didn't-
every sheriff needs to pay the same salary as the attorney general. I mean, you could make an argument all the way up to the attorney general.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Why not just,
it's so vague and it doesn't it doesn't say by year 2028, they shall be here. They said they shall.
Well, I think that if you just look at what's wrote in the, like what got brought to us by our attorney last week, it looks like it's black and white until you actually start to dissect the different department heads across the state that are in some brand of law enforcement.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it just gets gray as heck
It's-
again.
It was,
Exactly.
it was gray day one.
I mean, I think it was one of the most poorly constructed pieces of legislation to create clarity that I don't know, I shouldn't say
I
that.
thought it
I've
made
ever
it-
I
read.
mean, the legislature limits the pay to the governor of Iowa at $130,000 a year. So how much less should a sheriff be paid than the governor?
Yeah.
You know, the legislature says the governor can only be paid $130,000 a year, so how do you compare that with other people that work in the public?
And
Luckily, we're still able to get good people to run for that job.
You know,
well, you know, there's
We
no
aren't careful.
restriction on, you know, when I had that conversation with Johnston, Iowa, very early on, you know, they have all this education and all of these different degrees and, years in service. So your elected officials, all of them have no, you don't have, there's no requirement. But yet you're supposed to pay them as somebody that has a master's degree in, criminal science or whatever, you know. The other thing is there's no, you don't have to work 40 hours a week and you get 5 weeks vacation and an elected official, I think it's 60 days in a year that they actually be in the county or what it's.
I don't know what it
It's,
is.
well.
I obviously don't pay
Obviously.
attention to that.
And the other part of it is, you know, you can take as many vacations and the law says it's not a 9 to 5,
I'm done.
good, bad, or otherwise.
I just-
Sorry.
I wanted to bring up one quick thing that was in my one meeting that I had last week. It was a NACO meeting, or Rural Action Caucus. And I think that it was, Dave, I hope you're listening, because I think this will be important to all of us, but the ag people in particular. Colorado is trying to, this inside the city limits of Denver, where at exactly, it's a big town. But they're trying to put it on a referendum on the ballot that there no live or no animal slaughter facility can be in. There's actually already one there. It's a larger than Locker, but you know, not mega huge. But no animal, harvest facilities could be in that, and then they're afraid that'll run wild, expand across the whole state. You know, and you got people like Montfort, or not Montfort anymore, but all them, there's packing houses out there in that state. So I mean, it's something that's got the Rural Action Caucus's attention, so it's probably something we should be keeping an eye on.
you said it's it's on the ballot?
Well, they're trying to get it
Trying
on
to
the
get
ballot,
it on the ballot.
and it sounds like they got enough numbers to get it on
I'm
the
sure they
ballot.
will. That'd be easy to do.
I mean, there's some
Especially
huge feedlots in Colorado,
Yeah,
huge feedlots in Colorado. I think I was at one with 65,000 head.
they really weren't after the
No,
lot.
but I mean, those lots they're not gonna be there if I don't have a slaughter facility, if I gotta travel a long way to a slaughter
Could
facility.
indeed
Why would I want them
complicate.
here?
So I just want to make sure you guys were appraised of that, so that's something you can keep on your radar. Obviously, it's something, I don't know that we'd have enough people that had ever tried that around here. However, one never knows, right? So anyway, thank you for. It's all yours,
I love a
Paul.
ribeye steak.
We'll be getting into my pork chops and ribeyes.
They eat ribeyes and pork chops, need to step up and be a vocal voice too.
Yeah, we need to make more noise too.
Yeah, that's for sure. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Let's see here, I'm gonna send about three of them your way there, Terry. And
Thank you.
these ones go this way. There you go. Hi, Dave. There you are.
Morning, Paul. Ty, that's a scary, scary thing to think about.
What's that? Oh, the packing facility. Yeah, it's terribly scary. Look how hard we've been working to try to get some more lockers and small size facilities already, Dave. I mean, this is just basically countering everything we've been trying to do to help the cattle producer, your size of cattle producer.
Wait till people get hungry, then this stuff won't fly.
Well, can you financially survive until they get hungry? That's what scares me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of new stuff here today. The culvert project is again scheduled for a letting here in a few weeks. The Manila shop hasn't been any changes on that. Great crew. They're out, this is great weather to do tree removal, and after all the ice that we got several reports of trees that were down into yesterday. So continue to work on that. Bridge crew doing shock fabrication. I think you all know Tim. He's here. We'll be talking about that crawler loader here in a little while, but and we did send the crews out yesterday morning early. It was just one of those really kind of odd deals. We were having rain, temperatures of the pavement was 31 degrees there, temperature was 32, ice freezing on trees and vehicles, but pavements by and large stayed pretty good, but we did treat all the roads, all the paved roads early yesterday morning. It's a crapshoot, I mean, I've seen it where you get to those temperatures, maybe if the ground temperature would have been a little colder, if a little cold front kind of moves your way in 20 minutes, the whole county's a sheet of ice. It was Christmas Day, and so that's,
I appreciate you being cautious, erring on the side of caution.
we did, yeah, which was if it was a normal work day, we probably would have just kept monitoring them, but, the guys had to come in, and do it, and, then they're sitting there all morning wondering, well, what should we do? Can we, and I just said, send them out and
One injury accident's worth all the effort you put forth.
yeah, well, it got everybody to church and back home safe and where they needed to go, I guess, on Christmas Day, so that was the call that was made.
Well, thank you.
So, anyhow, the item 4 there is this crawler dozer, and I asked him to come in and, we were down this morning, so why don't you come up and talk about it a little bit? We don't have our guys come in very often. In fact, I don't think we've ever done it. But I think, they've been researching this, Tim and his crew, and great crew. You see all the work that they get done, and so I kind of let them take a little ownership in this, and Tim's taken it and ran with it. I have visited with the salesman, and actually were able to get it down to 159. I just told him, I said, we don't bid a lot of this stuff, and this one would really be hard to bid because there's nothing quite like this particular unit. This is what it looks like. I'll just pass that around.
Yeah, that's what you went down and test drove?
Yes.
Yeah, they went down to Omaha, but we did get it down to 159. So I called him and I said, here's the deal. I said, we don't bid a lot of stuff. We try to
This will be
negotiate, build
on the
relationships.
gray crew or bridge crew?
This is on the bridge crew, yeah. And so, I said, you know, the way we operate is that if we ever find out that you haven't treated us fair, we'll never do business with you again. So we knocked it down to 159,000. I don't know, that's scary.
Already got me scratching my head then, yeah.
But, yeah, and that's the truth, really. I mean, you know, I think we bring good value to the taxpayers by negotiating and, you know, we've had, you know, we buy a lot of Caterpillar equipment. But Caterpillar has done things for us that they weren't responsible to do. They put a brand new transmission in one of the motor graders. They've always taken care of us. And it's really, it's not what you necessarily pay for that piece of equipment, but it's what happens after that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if there's a part that we need, it's here the next day. Generally 95% of the parts, and you know that, Kyle and Tim, and so this is a little bit unusual in that these are the only people that manufacture this particular piece of equipment. And so on the bridge crew, they need something that's, well, go ahead, Tim.
So on the bridge crew, we need something that's a little more compact, a little bit more versatile and doing a lot of different, things. One's gonna be, with the benefit of this one, it's got the loader attachment, you know, a regular skid loader bucket. And then it also has the actual dozer bit that actually mounts the frame. So it's not on the arms. It doesn't, you know, you don't lose that wear and tear on your arms like you would with a regular Caterpillar or Bobcat push blade. You know, it doesn't have any extra wear. It's all on your frame. So that's the big benefit for us. And it's got a nice 8-9 foot blade to push dirt. And when we push things and we pick stuff up and we demonstrated it or test drove it, there was no bogging down. There was no issues with power. There was no lag. You know, since they're all kind of computerized now, you gotta adjust it to what we would need. Like you can adjust the hydraulics so it moves a little slower when it uses the bucket or the dozer blades, so you have a little bit more finer detail. And then once you get down inside like a back wall for a bridge, you don't have any room. So the good thing with this is you're able to get down there, you'll be able to see everything and actually still compact it without getting more equipment out. And also we'd be able to do a little bit more fine detail work once you get used to that, because it is a little bit different controls. It's the same thing as our little John Deere controls for our dozer, but it still is just a little bit different by the vision and such like that, visibility of that. But you got great compaction, great traction. We're looking at the one with the single browser on it, so it's always gonna be on a job site, not on the streets, not anywhere else. It's a job site machine. You can attach any kind of piece of equipment or attachment to it, like a grapple, forks, bucket, you know, anything that you would like to put onto that. And with that piece of equipment going out to possibly another job site, like helping the grade crew out or the ditching crews when they're tearing down trees, as long as it stays on the dirt or that's what it is. The big benefactor for this one also is it comes with the ripper on the back. And that's one of the things that we use a lot at the bridge crew, because we impact the road very short, but we got to tie the road back into that short area. So we need to be able to rip up that road to get all that gravel and rock to stay in where we put it.
So this machine will replace,
We already have a little 450 loader. But it is a 1979 piece of equipment or 78.
Wow.
Yeah, I think so.
So will we get rid of that? Or
Yes, most likely we
How
will.
much do you think we would be able to get for that if we sold it on an auction like we always do? Instead of-
10, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the right person, I mean, it's still gonna be good for the right person that doesn't use it all the time. But I mean, that's a one-off thing also, you know, it's kind of like this, they don't make that 450 that size anymore. we've tried because that's everything we try to get compact for the bridge crew, because we're always working in small confined areas.
Gotcha.
Is it about the same size as a skid loader, or is it more,
It's bigger.
it's quite a bit bigger? You know, the pictures, it's hard to kind of,
It's probably actually the same size as our loader right now, our 450 loader that we have now, a little bit stockier and maybe a little bit longer, but not, the only reason that is because of the ripper itself it's hanging off your back end of a skid loader now.
notice that, yeah.
But you could take the teeth off to kind of, shorten that up a
Well,
little
you
bit.
can take that.
Well, just the teeth out, you can't take that hydraulics off.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that in.
It's
a
very
couple of
interesting
pictures.
looking. I mean, it looks like
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, it's kind of a unique piece of equipment, and that's
Yeah.
why, we've been looking
Would
for
this-
years for something to replace that little.
Would this
John
be
Deere.
something then that you would update on a continual basis with the same type of machine? Or would
Probably
would this
not.
be something that would be in the force, kind of like the 1978 thing?
Probably gonna be around for a long
Be
time.
around for a long time.
Yes, I would say, I could see it being around for a long
Yeah,
time.
okay.
One of those doohickeys
Over some
for
bridges.
leveling, using GPS to
Oh,
level.
those, yeah, those are, for GPS machine controls, yeah.
And the company, the one company we actually went down and looked at is a contractor company down in Omaha, and that's what they have. They have that on their dozers right now. And, it gets them within a 1/100 of grade, which we can't afford that system, but we don't need that.
And they're building high-speed buildings for like these people probably are.
Correct,
Yeah.
yep.
Besides you and guys like you and Jim, that's already.
But sometimes you gotta get used to the piece of equipment and know the lay of the land to be able to.
They're
do it.
pretty easy to run or
Oh, very simple.
very simple?
Yep,
Perfect.
to be able to take the bucket off,
Would we use like the rubber track or
no, we
that
want
steel
the
track.
single grouser for dirt,
that steel track that I'm looking at here? Is
Yes,
that what you
yeah,
call
yeah.
that?
single grouser, yep.
That looks pretty durable too.
And the main reason for that is because we've had rubber track around, say like riprap and other things out in the environment of our work site.
Tear it up
They
pretty good.
tear those, rubber tracks up pretty good,
That riprap stuff,
so.
you're right. Good point.
The price here includes a 5-year, what's it, 6?
What on that pricing? Paul, what equipment would come with it? Obviously, you don't need a mower most likely, but
It just comes with the bucket, the dozer blade, and the ripper. The steel tracks. And then Paul was gonna say
Yeah, the warranty, it's a 60-month, 3,000 hour premier warranty plan, so it covers all your powertrain, everything, basically everything but wear items for 5 years.
See, it says case, is that something we get through Vetter or would they service it or does it come direct from?
That's
the company, or-
Titan, it's their construction division, it's Titan equipment, so, yeah.
max or 99% of the equipment that we can get for that, like, oil filters and
Right,
most weird things we can get through Vetters because it's the same size as the biggest case skid loader agricultural one that they make. But like the undercarriage, the pads, the little bit heavier duty grade stuff, we have to get through Titan. Cause that was one of my concerns too, is do I have to go to Sioux City all the time to get something? We said, no, most of that stuff you can get straight through Vetter.
Our local veteran don't.
Can't do
It doesn't
that.
sell.
I don't think he does it.
I went to him
That's fine,
first.
I just wanna make sure that we're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to him first and he'd never heard of it. So he said like he'd never even heard of it and it's been out for over 2 years, almost 3 years now. And,
you know any other county that's purchased one?
no, not around here. No, just that, contractor out of Omaha is the closest ones.
How many local counties have their own bridge crew?
Well, right.
Shelby County does,
Not the caliber bridge crew, we have.
No, nobody's.
well, I'm sure it's good, but we're great. So, we'll put it that way, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know of any other ones.
Yeah. When I was at NACO, it sounded like a lot of them other states, when I said we got a bridge crew, you got your own crew that does your own bridges? We got a lot of big bridges.
I mean, there's other counties that have them and they, like Paul said, they do great work,
No.
but they build things different than us. I mean, we build it a little bit heavier and a little bit bigger, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm friends with a couple of the bridge crew foremen from different areas. They just don't do the stuff like what we do. If it gets anything bigger or as big as what we do, they hire it in, or they do, yeah, just not as good of work.
Yeah.
I would
They,
say your crew is very good at taking a bridge and maintaining it so much it don't even look like the same bridge when you're done with it. Hats off to you guys for
we,
Well put.
Yeah.
if we find a bridge, we don't put it back the way that it was, we make it better.
Yeah.
Leave the world a better place. Good job.
For sure.
Yeah.
that.
I don't think we got a lot of bridge complaints in our county. I mean,
Nothing.
There's still a couple of them
Sometimes
out
they
there.
don't open soon enough.
There's still some out there that are on some
That's
roads that we
true.
need to
That was
maintain,
not on
but
us.
This group. Deal on that one.
well, there's only so many dollars we have each year to do it. And I think you guys actually do a great job of living in your budget.
I guess, Paul, is this, as you're preparing your budget, is this kind of already? I mean,
Yeah, I had budgeted, a dozer for the bridge crew for this year,
Mhm.
this current fiscal
A
year.
regular
A
dozer.
regular dozer.
I think.
Now, they've got that old TD 15 International, and so that'll probably be next year. We'll look at replacing that and one of the D6s on the grade crew. And
Will we go E again?
probably buying a smaller dozer that can be used by both then.
Okay.
So this purchase will be in this fiscal year,
This current
this
fiscal
budget
year,
year? Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
So, but
And this
you've
year.
got
So
the,
there's-
you've, well.
we're okay
those are
budget
all-
wise. We're okay budget wise as far as our equipment budget goes.
Well, I'd make a motion to approve item number 4.
It's at 159, I'm sorry.
At 159.
159, yeah, including the 60-month, $3,000 warranty. So,
Okay, Mr. Schultz makes the motion to purchase a case DL 550 dozer crawler from Titan Machinery at the price of $159,757. No cents.
actually, it's 159 even. That's the new
Oh,
price.
oh,
Yeah.
oh,
They
you
lowered,
lowered
they lowered that, yeah, after I did this, I called him and I said, well, is that your best price?
159 even.
And then I told him how we don't,
Mm-hmm.
Seconded by Mr. Dozark. Any further discussion? All in favor state so by saying aye.
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 Opposed? nay. Chair votes aye, motion carries. Did you hear Mr. Mulbar?
thank you. So,
All right.
as a side note, Tim has taken it upon himself to do the CDL training,
Oh,
you know,
Yep.
for our employees, and we've got 2 employees now, 2 new ones that came on this year that he's working with right now, so, we really appreciate that effort, that he's, done for us, so.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Tim.
hopefully in the long run, it'll save us just even this year, right around the $8,000
Yeah,
for
Yeah.
those 2 people,
Yeah.
if they pass their test right off the
Yeah.
bat, which I think they have no problem, but,
Wow.
so.
so those are those things that are, you know,
That'll be a good test of our instructor.
yeah.
I did it for 15 years in the military, so.
Much appreciated. He's done a lot of work on the towers as well,
Mhm. Yeah,
outside of his work there, but we
Yeah.
still have that, do we know what we're gonna do? There's that dish up in Schleswig that we need to get moved. We just, you know, it's not that it's
I
terribly
can come up and help
inconvenient.
you. I mean,
I mean, I can bring it right back down here to Dennison at.
it
to our
should,
EML,
it should
so-
fit in our tower.
It doesn't. I tried everything and
It won't fit?
unless I take it out of the crate, but I don't wanna
Oh,
do
I don't wanna
that.
do that.
Well, how?
So how is that
soon
one
are
so
they
much
coming
bigger?
to start hanging that stuff? I thought they
That's
were
a
getting very
great
close.
question. I thought so too, but
So is it supposed to be installed up there? Is that the
That's
plan?
where it's gonna
That's why
be.
it's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I thought they were maybe done with everything, but,
Oh, no, we have, the towers up, but none of our equipment's on there yet, so.
okay.
I
should we
think
put it
they're.
inside the fence up there?
I probably don't want, well, it's gonna sit outside when it gets mounted, I
Right, I
guess,
mean, it's
but-
gonna be outside, but.
but I don't know. It was just, it came up as the guys were prepping for winter snow removal.
Is there a place down here at the
They've got
training
waves on
center
now.
we could store it?
Yeah, and that's where I had them before, was down here at the EMA, boat shed is what we call
They're
it,
in the EMA boat shed.
but
Put
That
it
was
back.
I mean, that's, when the water gets hard, that boat ain't going out.
No,
but I mean, it's,
After a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, we had them moved out because we were told that they're gonna start doing them and they wanted them out there, so that way they seen it and, or had all the
If we know
equipment
where
out
it's
there.
at, yeah, just, that's fine. I think that'd be fine.
So we'll get it relocated.
Yep.
And get it done.
There's just the one dish though, right?
Up there, yes.
Yeah.
Where do we have other dishes? You said that like there might be more.
Well, they're at the.
All of them are at their
But they're all in
sites.
their sites. That's why I was perplexed that that
That
wouldn't
one
fit
just
in there.
doesn't fit inside the door. Everything else fits in.
So it's the biggest shelter we got in the smallest door.
Must be. I couldn't get it in.
Well, thanks for trying.
Well, I'm sure if you couldn't get it in, yeah, it's not gonna fit, so anyhow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna take it out of its
Thank you.
protective shell.
And that's the thing, I mean, that dozer loader, that thing, you know, has the capability of using all that stuff. Tree puller, you know, one of those, you know,
Got a lot of
grinders and such like that. So like if-
Laboratory roller.
A lot of little.
I can see
Wouldn't that be nice
attachments,
to have a
I can see
compactor on
attachments
that
in the
thing?
future for the bridge crew.
You guys well start building a trailer now, Tim, with all of the.
That's a big, that's the other thing, you know, that trailer, or that skid loader is 18,000 pounds. I mean, it's a semi.
Yeah.
So I mean, you gotta haul that on a semi, so. That's why it's, you know, it's a work site, piece of equipment. It'd be handy to have one of those kind of mulchers to clean up some of those ditches, but, you know, that would take time.
Backup camera.
Yeah, oh yeah, 360 camera,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's nice.
It's slick.
One, just, saying that you left here, as I'm working on budgets, I know, there's talk about, you know, we may have to, you know, cut in a number of areas. I mean, is that something I should just plan now, or should I just keep it high enough and have you guys cut it back?
Well-
You know, I'm usually pretty pragmatic. It's like, it is what it is. Whatever I gotta spend, but, or, you know, I mean, I try to spend only what we need to get the job done and try to spend those dollars efficiently. And if there's any carryover, we don't try to spend it, I guess.
How much you spent on fuel last year? I mean, that, just the change.
Well,
with
last
it being an election
fiscal
I
year was
figured-
$750,000, you know, and I had budgeted 400, you know, I mean, it just went, we were buying $5.20 number one diesel this time last year.
I guess what
You
I'm
know,
saying
this
is
year
your
it's
budget,
different, this year's better.
it's so hard to pinpoint, because if it, the petroleum people that are talking to me say, well, it's gonna be election year, fuel's gonna be cheap.
Yeah,
So I mean, you could swing your budget just in fuel,
yeah,
a couple $100,000.
I think we'll probably be closer to that 600,000, you know, right now,
Mhm.
for diesel fuel. But,
When we talked this
we're
morning,
6 months through the year, I don't know.
you
what'll
don't
happen
have to
this
buy a
spring.
lot of salt and calcium, cause we
Yeah.
don't use it this year.
Mhm.
There's a $250,000.
Yeah, not quite that much. I mean, you know, we'll spend, you know, I ordered 800 tons of salt at $72 a ton, so you can do the math. That's about $55,000 to $60,000 of salt. And we're sitting great right now. You know, I mean, we've got everything full. We used a little bit yesterday, but, you know, it probably, Kyle, would be more in that $75,000 to $100,000 difference now. You know, that's just the material cost, but you've also got the fuel cost and the
Right.
operating cost and the overtime and all that stuff there, you know, that factors into that. But so far, so good, you know, we get through the holidays, then you got, you know, 60 days till March 1st. And, you know,
Right.
we get snow and stuff in March and it usually doesn't last very long. But yeah, there'll be some savings there. And, you know, so we got a full slate of grading for 2024, which those are expensive. You know, when you start paying crop damages, seed cost, pipe cost, all that. Plus just the work. But I'm kind of, you know, budgeting my normal operations for 2025, forward into 2025. But if it is anything substantially different, let me know, but otherwise, you know, you guys have always done a good job of supporting the
On
crushed
your
limestone
whole
purchases.
department, I don't know, what do you think, like, just don't get too carried away on the 2 to 3%. I mean, might be all we really have to play with.
Yeah, see, and, you know, my funding comes through, you know, a small transfer from the general fund, but it'll be bigger. for
But
the
you know,
rural
I mean,
basic
how much
fund.
is, I mean, so that's like your, on your IFTAs and all that fuel taxes, and was that what you're talking about?
Right, road use tax revenues
Yeah.
are they're steady. I mean,
Yeah, they're not
they're continue to go up, you know, some.
What do they go up for percentage on average?
I'd have to take a look, but probably in that, we're in the 4,500,000, so it goes up about $120,000 a year, somewhere in that range.
Has anybody in
So that's
your
probably
world,
at 2%, something like
still
that.
at 2%, has
Yeah.
anybody in your world looked to see what the EV effect is gonna be on your revenue?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're following that very closely.
Okay.
And there's legislation that they have to pay road use tax, it's just
I
different,
get
it's just a
that.
different way to pay it. I don't know that that's had a really huge impact on us here in Iowa, though. I see somebody, is that your new Prius sitting out there? I like the color, by the way.
It's a
that is.
Benza,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So you got-
But-
how many Christmas presents did you get?
never ends.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, But we've seen, and that's a good thing. I've always said it, and we're seeing some stability too in our materials. Our steel costs have actually gone down. I talked, we buy all of our seed from AAA, and he said, that's going down. This year, he said, all the seed, I was pricing, he said, it's gonna be lower than it was last year. So we're seeing some stabilizing and some deflation. I think high interest rates are certainly having an impact on that.
Yeah,
And they're going to into 2024. It'll be interesting to see what all happens, but, I just wanted to,
Yeah,
I've been working on that, and I just didn't know if there was some really significant changes I should be looking at and scratching some things out. We've already made some equipment purchases. We've already purchased the
motor grader.
the motor grader and the 2 trucks. And so, but, I'll keep working on it, and I guess when we get to that point, we can kind of sit back and take a look. But again, for my department, there's a small draw on the general fund, but a pretty sizable one on the rural basic.
Right, and this new legislation affects both of those,
Yeah,
general
Yeah.
basic and rural basic.
how much they can go up, or how much,
2 to 3,
2 to 3% increase.
and we don't know which.
Yeah.
I would bet on 2. I'm always paranoid though,
thanks to Dirty 30.
thanks to the dirty 30.
So,
Hey, Paul,
yeah, Dave.
with the volatility in the fuel prices, does that make you lean towards wanting to lock in 50 or 70 or 75% of our diesel needs at all to kind of hedge against that volatility? Or what's your thoughts on that? I know we talked about it before.
We've talked about that over the years, and we do our LP gas, we always lock that in the summertime. And that seems to have worked out well. There's just so many wild swings in fuel prices that we buy, kind of like the old timers used to say when they sold hogs every 3 weeks. They never tried to hit the high or the low, they just sort of hoped to get on base, I guess.
And being an election year, it'd be hard to guess.
Yeah,
Al already brought that up.
had we locked in some diesel last spring, we would have been paying a higher price because the diesel fuels went way down.
Help.
I can speak for that personally. You saw a price, you could lock it in for $3.55 when diesel was $5.05 and thought you got a great deal, but then when spring came, you were paying $3.25 off of the tank wagon. So I don't know, Dave, it's just it's like trying to figure out any kind of market. I think in what we do, we buy often enough that we just catch the highs and the lows and take the averages.
Yeah.
It's risky.
There's a farmer I talked to, he said he
Either way.
sells so much grain every day.
Yeah,
He never contracts and he just sells some every day.
just sell
He
it.
hits
Yeah,
the
I mean,
high, he hits the low, it averages out pretty good.
Yeah.
yeah, if you
I mean,
try
I
to hit
have
a
a lot
home
of
run, you
grain to
strike out
move
a
to do
lot.
that every day, but.
As long as you can pay your bills and buy your new fences, I guess you're all right.
So to answer your question, Dave, I'm leery of that. So.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
thank you so much.
You bet.
Appreciate you coming out.
Happy New Year's to everyone.
Thanks for the in-depth report, Tim. We appreciate it.
No, I did not get to leave it up.
You didn't?
I thought that was perfect sign.
I think that's in his man cave now.
That was
You
funny.
took it home, did you?
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
See you guys, thanks. All right, next up. Discuss, take action, LE, the Law Enforcement Committee. Our Law Enforcement Center, sorry, committee updated addendum. Yeah, you've seen it in our
Has everybody
packet.
seen this, like, the last one? What they-
Yeah,
I
your
was
last
kind
one.
of going
Dave
through
probably
it
has
tonight.
that.
Before you get started, I know you're an IT guy.
IT guy.
So when I hover over something and it says,
Did you?
hit control click to follow the link. What's the click button?
Yeah. I would try enter.
Mhm.
Control enter.
Okay, then why doesn't it tell me control enter?
I didn't say it'd work. I just said that's what I would try.
Oh, I see, okay.
It's a place to start.
Popped up a warning saying,
Control
"Are you
click.
sure?"
Well, I've never seen control click.
Okay, it says you press control enter. Do you want to use control enter as keyboard
What's he-
shortcut for
what are you
sending a
hovering over?
message?
What are you hovering over?
A link.
Click on the link. Just click, can't
Well, you
just-
can't click on the link when
Yeah,
you,
because normally it would be control and your right click button would be your,
okay,
yeah, so control click do you have a tab or a
Here we go.
keyboard?
sure, that's,
Yeah, so what you would do is you would lay your mouse over this
yeah.
and you could be able to,
Do you have to control and then hit
No.
that? Or no?
it should have just opened.
Ah,
Yeah, oh, there
There
we
you go.
go. I just wasn't pushing hard enough. So control and then push here.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
All right,
your
all
job
right.
as a
Started
sub.
wasting time,
There,
boy.
How do we survive with the?
there you go.
That'll be
You know,
reflected in the next bill.
My
That's-
next
You're
bill.
not gonna charge us for that, are you?
No, Dwayne tells me I can't charge for things like that. Anyway, this is the new addendum. Dwayne got us the prices on the insurance and the utilities. We continue to operate. I understand we're still talking about the new group, so we went ahead and called our meeting like we normally would in November so that
Let's open your
people
word.
could.
Yep.
Last year, we skipped it because we heard we were being put out of business. And then Terry and Jody said, where's our numbers? So we met in June and got her the numbers, and then we met again this November. So we'll just keep doing it until something happens. And, but anyway, so those are the new numbers and the new formulas.
Farrell wants to keep things the way they are, doesn't he?
I have no idea. I'm not part of that, so I don't know.
Norm. So I just hear what I hear through the grapevine. But it's pretty self-explanatory as to the formulas there and what it is. We just need approval of the city. I did change, the copy that you guys will be signing to 2024 for the city. Because the city was not able to get it on their agenda this year. So they won't be seeing it until January.
Yeah, are those set every year?
Yep. Every year Dwayne, does a study for us. He's the county's, appointee to the board. And so he gets the utility costs, the insurance costs, and then sends them to me, and then I work up the formula and I do up the sheet. Then the committee meets, we go over the inventory of all of the equipment that's been purchased or disposed of throughout the year. That's one of the things we're required to do. We go through this formula system on the insurance and utilities that we're required to do, appoint a chairperson and a recorder, those types of things, so. Well, we only meet once a year, and normally it's in November.
I have a quick question with, Dwayne's retirement. Will we need to make a change there as our appointee, or does that
If we
person?
want to.
Well, I just didn't
And
know.
if he wants to continue, we can still continue to appoint him.
Okay, I just didn't know.
Yeah, the county can appoint anybody they like.
Anybody they
He
like.
just is the county's
Okay,
appointee.
well, he's been,
Yeah.
pointing that out, that,
It really, the only change to the board since it was formulated, and it's been many moons ago, the only real change to the board has been the replacement of the chief of police.
sure.
So those have been the only, other than that, Dwayne, Jim and I, and Corey Schnogren.
So Roger will be it next, or Roger, whoever.
The new
wins
sheriff.
Whoever
New sheriff.
the sheriff, I'm sorry, the sheriff and the chief are both automatic members of the
Okay.
board,
Yeah.
right?
So you just stayed on after you weren't chief?
No, so the sheriff and the chief are automatic, then the county gets to appoint one, you appointed Dwayne, the city gets to appoint one, they appointed Corey Schnogren, and then those four appointed me.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So those four have the authority to appoint a fifth member to break any tie, and not that we ever have any ties, but anyway, so that's how I got on the board.
Thanks for the update. It's kind of one of those that, you
Yeah.
know,
Not a problem at all.
Yeah. I'm sure that.
Okay.
Formula looks solid, I think. Numbers, Dwayne would have gotten her up to date. Oh,
Give you a chance.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution. No,
It's not a resolution.
I was reading the line low. The
Sorry.
LEC media updated Addendum A.
Addendum A.
Those-
Second.
Okay, motion was made by Mr. Schultz, LEC committee update, addendum A, for expense sharing, and seconded by Mr. Dozart. Any further discussion?
No?
All in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Chair votes aye.
Thanks, Rob.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it, Rod.
And thank you for doing the children's crusade, Rod. Yeah, thank you. You know,
Yeah, that
somebody
turned
has
out
to
really well,
spearhead it
didn't
and
Yeah.
keep it going. and-
Yeah, it's,
One will come back to us,
it is a
right?
labor of love.
Uh, We had some of the most expensive popcorn ever here.
Yeah, you know, and I'm glad you brought that up, you know, and I put it in the newspaper, did a great story for us, but I want to make sure that you understand, it's just not the popcorn sales that we get, some of your employees just contribute, I mean, they just drop a check in there, that's,
Yeah.
a very expensive bag of popcorn when it costs you $50. But, we had a really nice, response this year from a lot of different organizations in the courthouse, as who has been a good,
What's it
sponsor.
annually cost to keep that thing?
It pretty much runs on a shoestring, to tell you the truth. You know, it's a well-oiled machine now. We've been doing it for 37 years. We got it down to a science. Many of the expenses that we had in the early days are gone. And, you know, we had a lot of people that donate supplies, so we don't have to worry about buying a whole lot of material. Wrapping paper, the tape, the tags, a lot of that is
Honest,
donated.
that stuff was on the station, radio station.
Yeah.
It was all, I
Yeah,
know the girls on our riders wrapped all the stuff that the Legion riders gave, so.
yeah. Well, you know, we started that during COVID. It used to be that they had to come in unwrapped and so that we could assure that, you know, that it was an appropriate gift for that child. And, but then COVID kind of put the kibosh to that, and it works well that we just decided to keep it. And,
I think at Christmas, the gifts are gonna be pretty small.
yeah, so it's been good.
So,
Do the fronts on both of
here, do you
those
want
types.
that? I was
Yeah.
kind
And
of,
yes, you will get an original.
Okay,
back.
that's what I
kind of
thought.
hoping that said some questions.
I stamped one of them, so that's the one. We love that.
Oh, you would like your stamped copy?
Yes.
Yep, I'll make sure you get your stamped.
And
And then the council will take this up at their first, meeting in January and then.
You don't want to sign the back?
Oh, I do. Sorry,
That's okay.
I had it for so long.
Just worried about a new clown car out there.
It is not a clown car. I thought about you the whole time I was test driving.
I hope you remember that all
Every
Well, I
time she
still
turns
have the
key.
clown car.
You knew where my mind was going.
Yes.
I still have it.
I need to sign that one.
Jerry and I are
Public
debating on-
notary, I don't have to sign.
I still have my Jeep.
the.
Yeah, there's a mark on the back there.
There we go.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rod.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
Rod.
great day.
You bet, appreciate all you do. Okay, next, take action, discuss and take action, resolution 2023 to 2037. Transferring, 23, I got
That's
it,
the 37th resolution.
37. We're really stretching out there to boards that have to put up.
Yeah.
Transferring funds from, rural basic fund to the rural supplemental fund. So,
It's,
Thank you.
sorry. I'll talk now. Sorry.
Something we do every.
It is something we do annually. I sat down with Chuck, one day last week and, I didn't bring the fund balance in with me. But the rural supplemental was getting down there, not in a hazardous way. But usually this time of year we transfer and the 135 is approximately half of what's been budgeted for that transfers. And so supplemental funds can only be used for certain expenditures like FICA and IPERS and certain things like that. And rural makes it even more specific because it is really mostly his department that spend the rural.
You say his, but Paul.
I'm sorry, Paul's, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Paul's,
secondary road.
yeah, secondary roads, probably, Department 19 too, so.
Took most everything the sheriff had out of there.
So, yeah, 135, yeah, there might be a few, things Cause I think we still have another, do we still have a deputy out of there? I know, I can't remember. Anyway, so that's just what that is just transferring funds from the rural basic fund into the rural supplemental fund.
I would be surprised if we don't still have a deputy in there because nothing's
I feel
changed
like we
since
do.
I've been on here, so.
How much was the
The only
transfer?
reason I questioned that, 135.
135 even?
We were bumping.
I'll make a motion that we transfer 135,000 from rural, basic to rural supplemental.
Do we need to verify if we have a?
Well, the money's there, it's just, yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh, wait, I guess.
I'll second it for
Okay.
discussion
Oh,
purposes.
Okay, motion was made by Mr. Dozark and seconded by Mr. Schultz to move $135,000 funds from rural basic to rural supplemental. Is there any further discussion?
I just had a question, I guess, for Terry, because rural basic and rural supplemental each have the maximum tax levy that you can, or
Rural basic has the max, it's $3.95.
rural supplemental has no tax.
Yes, it does. I think this year we did 10 cents. 10 cents per $1,000 of value.
So does it make sense?
There's no max, it's whatever is needed to cover the expenses that are
Just certain-
allowable
Yeah.
in supplemental.
Right,
Basic, there is a max. That's probably gonna change
so,
for us this year because of the legislation, House File 718. I think our levy's going down.
so does it make sense then to raise the rural supplemental to just have the funds to not transfer it?
Not necessarily,
Okay.
because they're very specific. You can only spend them for certain things. That fund balance, the supplemental fund balances, I don't believe you ever want to get a big balance in because of the specificness of,
Right, but it seems like
allowable
if we don't, if
expenses.
every year we transfer the funds,
right?
we would know, I guess from a
We don't
lower
always
state,
know
from a
though.
lower standpoint, we don't, well, we know
I
it's gonna
mean,
be this much.
we definitely can levy more.
You know,
I think
if it's
we were-
135 twice a year, then we know,
Right.
minimum, we're gonna spend at least 200,000, we might
Right.
as well at least.
And we may
Right for
want
that.
to this year, especially if rural basic, that levy, and I believe it's gonna go down. Less than $3.95 is gonna be our allowable levy for that, so we may want to
So we'll have
spend,
to
to
cut
levy
more
more for supplemental.
We'll have to supplement. Okay, all right,
Yeah,
trying to grasp my head.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
that-
Well, good
I
luck.
know, and as far as like general supplemental, I've been trying to look through and make sure that everything that we can spend is actually budgeted out of supplemental and not out of general basic. And Paul should probably do the same in his, make sure that
Right,
it's happening, that
Any of the
anything.
different areas that we can tax or we can
Any-
use.
And again, it's
Instead of
very
using-
limited, it's very limited,
gotcha,
very limited,
all right.
yeah. Yes.
So anyway, is that all, or is there any other further discussion? Sorry, I got lost track. I was thinking about that. So I'll bring it to a vote and it's a resolution. Mr. Schultz,
Aye.
Ms. Hayden,
I,
Mr. Mulbauer,
Aye.
Mr. Dozer.
All right,
Chair votes aye. Resolution carries. All right, citizens input. No citizens here other than us. Is there any other, do you guys have to bring before the board? Not hearing any. Is anybody on, Zoom land? Dave or Roger, Bonnie? Any of you have anything to bring before the board?
I do not, Ty. We had a pretty short week, so just laying around like a sick dog.
All
oh,
right, we'll get well.
Didn't
Thanks
want
for
to
not-
share this one with you guys.
You still gotta go out and do chores though, so don't forget.
got hard.
thanks for not sharing.
Okay, yeah, thanks for considering our health. Go ahead.
Would you sign this?
I'll move we adjourn.
That's that
Okay.
2080.
Oh, okay. All right, the motion was made And seconded by Ms. Hayden, motion made by Mr.
8 o'clock
Dozart,
next
seconded by Ms.
Tuesday.
Hayden.
8 AM next Tuesday morning.
Great
Yep.
point. We got 8 AM because we got cash count.
Okay, I can be
8 AM cash count.
I will take this.
Nobody will be in charge until Terry officially makes you the. So I guess we're just running amok until then.
If I can make it.
All right.
Who's going to, conservation?
Well, I can, I mean, I can.
Gene and I are, that's our side of town. On our way there. I mean, I can run out there unless Gene,
Well, we'll have to either come here to get papers
Or take 'em
Friday
home with
or,
Cause they will.
Oh, that's
well, they
right.
Till 8 anyway, so.
yeah, and they don't get there till 8. Last time I was there
I
at 10 till and I had to sit there for 10 minutes, actually, yeah.
I do the
So-
same thing at public health sometimes.
So we just won't come in here and then we'll arm wrestle over it, unless you're still sick, you know, you just cough on me.
I'll be better by then. I better be. 10-4, we'll just meet, see you at the courthouse at 8.
All right, I'll be here.
See you then, 8 o'clock
I
next
promise.
Tuesday.
Yep.
All right, everybody, have a happy new year. Don't celebrate too hard so you can make sure you're back here.
What?
What? Goodness.
All in favor, state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Have a great finish to the year. I'll see you next year.
But Lynn's got a
Thanks for your year